right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, we are talking about a movie that I loved in ways that I probably wasn't meant to, but we'll get to that in a minute here. Before we do that, I just want to remind you all, please make sure you're subscribed to the show. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, all the big podcast apps. By now you should know that, but you know what? If you're listening and you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and get subscribed. And also you can rate and review us on iTunes. You can leave us a review, leave us 5-star rating would be great. And also connect with us on social media at Piecing Pod, pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that. And also join our Facebook group, Piecing It Together, a movie discussion group. And with that said, I do want to mention that I'm actually, well, I'm not out of town right now, but I'm out of town when this will be uploaded to all the podcast apps and all that stuff. So when you're hearing this, I am not at home. And so I'm actually at the Film Quest Film Festival in Provo, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. My music video, Artificial, that's coming out in a couple weeks, was nominated for Best Music Video. So I'm going out there to attend the screening and watch a lot of cool films and have some fun. So hopefully I'm out there meeting all kinds of people and telling people about the podcast and doing all that stuff. And of course, watching lots of movies. But I don't know if it's going to mess with next week's schedule for a new episode, but probably not, because there's like a bunch of movies to see this weekend. So I'm sure I'll be able to get one episode in next week, but I guess we'll find out what happens. Tune in next week to find out. But for now, this week, let's talk about the movie we are covering, and that is The Nun. You, of course, know that because you already watched that silly promo video that I made. If you didn't see it already, there's a link in the show notes so you can check it out, or you can check it out on our Facebook or Twitter or any of that stuff. But The Nun, this is the newest entry in the Conjuring Universe, the Conjuring Cinematic Universe, that is. And it's a creepy, scary character from the last couple of Conjuring movies and Annabelle and all that. And the story really doesn't matter because, as you'll see as we get into this episode, I loved this movie, but because I thought it was so unbelievably ridiculous. To me, this is like grade A comedy horror. I don't think that's what they expected us to think, but Chad Clinton Freeman agreed with me, and we have a great conversation. Let's go into it. All right, so back with us today, we've got Chad Clinton Freeman. How you doing, Chad?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you? I believe this is the 10th episode for me to co-host on. Yep.
Damn.
So, yeah,
that's pretty good. Yeah, you've got to be the person who's been on the show the most at this point, I'd imagine.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. But this is going to be a fun one. We're talking about The Nun, which is of course part of the Conjuring universe, which those of you listening hopefully saw my little promo video I did last week.
Oh, it was so good. I loved it.
I'm glad you liked it. I did it mainly for you too. So. But yeah, no, The Nun, the Conjuring universe, it's expanding, and we're gonna keep getting more of these movies, I'm sure. So I these aren't always my favorite movies, but I mean, as far as modern horror, as we know, I'm not a big fan of most modern horror, but as far as modern ones go, these kind of tend to be some of the better ones, I think. And so, you know, it's a cool little universe, and people certainly love them. That's for sure. Are you a big fan of these movies?
No, actually, I'm not. That's the funny thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a big horror fan, but as far as the Conjuring films, I like them, but I feel they're very disposable. They're just kind of like, okay, yeah, that was fun. but
Right.
but yeah, I am not a big fan of them necessarily. I think a lot of today's horror is very much better in concept than it actually is in execution, like the Purge series. And I think that this one is very much in line with that. It's like the concepts tend to be better than the actual films, but fun, disposable fun. So
yeah, absolutely. They look good. They have good ideas
definitely
going to them, but then they kind of just devolve into just jump scare after jump scare seems to be the thing.
That is the Conjuring like thing. Yes, jump scares.
That's the universe. So the jump scare universe.
That's not really my thing. I'm more into creepy, bizarre, that type of horror as opposed to the jump scare. But yeah, a lot of people they love their jump scares, and so yes, that's why these are so successful.
Yeah. Well, as we get into it, we'll find out that I really like this for other reasons. But let's start it off though with your first puzzle piece.
All right. Well, okay. So there's some things that you're probably going to bring up. So I'll kind of keep a couple of these puzzle pieces that I have to kind of piggyback what you bring up. But as I was watching this movie, the movie that kept coming back to me, and it's funny because I haven't seen it in forever, and I don't even fully remember a whole lot about it. I remember liking it, but actually a Wes Craven movie, The Serpent and the Rainbow. That is one of the movies that kept coming back to me as I was watching this movie. That film is very much a kind of a similar setup as this one. In it, you've got a guy who's going to investigate. It's actually voodoo, where they're bringing people back to life from the dead. And there's lots of just like nightmare type sequences and just things that you don't know, is this real or is this just a nightmare or what exactly? But a lot of the things that we see in this are very similar. It's actually Bill Pullman who stars in that one, and he gets buried alive, which there's a buried alive scene in this one. Snakes are really big in that one, and we do get some snakes here and there in this one. Just a lot of the visuals and a lot of the same just moments are very, very similar. Of course, it's been done in other movies, but like the hallway where there's the hands reaching out the wall, that type of thing.
Sure.
So that movie, though, just overall, and since it's a Wes Craven movie, and I love Wes Craven, it made me want to go back and watch it actually, because like I said, I haven't seen it in forever, and I know it's definitely one of Wes Craven's like. Least talked about movies. So
sure, I don't even really remember. I don't recall this one, but
it's like
a
1988 or so. So yeah. But Bill Pullman's kind of like this almost Indiana Jones kind of riff character, and he's going and like I said, investigating this group of people that do voodoo. Just very much a lot of similarities. So I wouldn't be surprised if just basically overall the whole story for this one is kind of like a riff in many ways off of that one. So
sure. No, it certainly sounds like it the way you're describing it. And my first puzzle piece, I was going to start with a different one, but since you just mentioned Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
There we go.
Yeah, this movie, I really found it to be more of like a silly adventure movie than it is a horror movie. Which is strangely enough, a lot of people, I wonder if it's because people are so invested in this whole Conjuring Universe thing that they don't want to see it as that, because a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? It's, scary as hell and everything. And I'm like, this is an amusement park ride. I mean, it's like,
Right.
it's like haunted house snakes popping up, and
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right,
and,
right.
And like, yeah, it's like even like the zombies and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they're all very not horror movie, but adventure movie versions of those things. And yeah, Indiana Jones Temple of the Doom, I think, as far as an adventure movie goes, that kind of encapsulates that kind of a genre the best.
Exactly. But it's funny because the only thing we were missing, though, was some sort of like, I mean, because we have the catacombs and all of that, but there's not like the them getting into a what are those buggy things called on the
mine cart?
Yeah, like a mine cart. Yeah. There wasn't a moment.
I would have lost my shit if that happened.
There wasn't a moment like that, but yeah, very almost Scooby-Doo too at the same time. But yeah,
actually, I'm gonna write that down. Scooby-Doo. I'm gonna write that down.
But yeah, very, very much adventure, which is funny because one of my friends was asking me if I had seen it yet. This was just early on Sunday when I was going to see it that night, and I was like, no, I didn't. And he's like, well, I'm curious what you think, because I really liked it. He said, to me, it's like an adventure movie. I was like, really? That's interesting. Because, yeah, it isn't being at all like pushed that way. But, yeah, it very much is an adventure movie, which, yes, Indiana Jones, again, was. Here's the funny thing. The Frenchie character, he didn't come off as Indiana Jones, but he came off to me as very much the like ripped off and riffed and spoofed versions of Indiana Jones that we have gotten. And so what his character specifically reminded me of, and which made me think of these other movies as well, was actually Brendan Fraser. He was basically
on my list.
Exactly. So yeah, he was basically playing Brendan Fraser, who's basically in like Journey to the Center of the Earth, and The Mummy is basically a riff on Indiana Jones, or you could even see the characters as almost like a riff of Crocodile Dundee, even, who was basically a riff of Indiana Jones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that character though was one of the really big surprises that really made this movie so much fun. That and the whole adventure aspect of it. But go back to what you said, though, is this was like a haunted house, like theme park ride in a sense. And yes, like a haunted house theme park, almost like the Indiana Jones ride at like Disneyland or something like that. Almost like a Disney like scary kind of ride, where it's like which is very Scooby-Doo, like scary but more of the adventure side of it, whereas as opposed to the actual like, oh my god, that's like terrifying, more of fun.
I'm surprised they didn't pull the mask off of the nun at some point.
Right?
Someone else,
right?
Well, I'm gonna actually. I had The Mummy as one, but I'm gonna actually just change that to Brendan Fraser, in general, because I mean, it goes through his whole career. Like, the thing that he kind of became known for is definitely something that the Frenchie character is. And just before we move on to your next puzzle piece, I just want to say we will be talking about Frenchie a lot throughout the episode. So anyone at home that's listening, just know that.
So yeah, that's the thing though. Like we were saying, like The Mummy, because that's exactly, because it's not a horror movie. But it has those horror elements. It's like a big epic, like fantasy horror adventure, and then the same kind of thing could be said for like Journey to the Center of the Earth, which again has like horror elements to it, but is more of fun and adventure. which the problem with this movie for me is that it didn't fully embrace that that's what it was going to be. I think that it could have.
I don't think it knew that.
Right.
I don't think it knew that's what it was. It just ended up that way.
Well, maybe you're right that it did maybe just kind of end up that way. But yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot funner if they'd fully just embraced that. And yeah, like I said, if they needed a minor cart scene, The Mummy.
We almost sort of got it for a second when the father, what's his name, Father Burke, when he falls into the into the grave. And like it was like so slapsticky, and like it was like one thing into the next. He like trips, falls, gets pushed into the grave. Then the grave has his name on it, and then the bell, and then it covers him with dirt, and then the bell starts ringing along with the music swelling up. Oh, I was dying. I actually applauded at that moment. I mean, I was absolutely dying.
Well, the funny thing too is that the movie kind of plays itself for the most part, takes itself pretty serious up until that point, though. I think. And then that was kind of like when the movie actually like kicked into. Wait a second, this is not exactly a regular Conjuring movie. It's a little odd for the Conjuring universe,
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's other aspects to this movie which makes it also so interesting and fun, and one of them for me though also is that how this is a horror movie that isn't necessarily like it doesn't play by any rules per se, and it doesn't have any rules in its own universe really. And so it's not really a monster movie, but it kind of is. And it's not really like a haunted castle movie, but it kind of is. And so I think that those things, though, I thought brought some fun elements to it and made me think of specific things. Like I'll go ahead and go into one of my other kind of, it's multiple, it's not one specific puzzle piece, but Universal classic monster movies, like the original 30s Frankenstein and Dracula movies. This opens very much like it's gonna be one of those kind of monster movies where it's got this, this beautiful decaying weird church castle that's just like such a very cool location. I don't know if that's an actual like real location or how it was pulled off.
It was shot in Romania, actually. The whole thing was shot in Romania. Boom. So yeah, it may have been.
Well, that to me though was one of the things that made it very, very cool though, that I really enjoyed about it, is that it was really cool to look at, and the atmosphere was so just great, and the way though that like you had like not just one cross, not like 2 crosses, not 3 crosses, but like 500 crosses, or a graveyard of like 100 million graves, and that also had that just old school, just like 30s like monster movie kind of feeling to it, and so instead of those,
let's blow them away.
Instead of specifically though saying like Frankenstein or Dracula though is one of my puzzle pieces, one though that I thought would be a fun one to mention was actually Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, because again, that one took these very serious movies and then turned it on its head and made it fun. And again, I think that what this movie does, the Conjuring movies are very, very serious. That's one of the things that I haven't been like really big on, because they're so very serious. You're talking about, killer dolls and killer nuns and they're so very serious. And this one steps away from that and has some fun with it. And again, like I said, there are aspects that reminded me of the old 30s monster movies. And then I was like, yeah, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is a perfect piece, because that one was like the step away. Once they realized that these movies are being too serious, and how far can we go with this? Son of Frankenstein and, Bride of Frankenstein and all these different spinoffs and whatnot, that then finally they were like, okay, let's throw in Abbott and Costello and have some fun with it. So yeah.
I love it. That's a great one. And it's a good tie-in with my next puzzle piece as well. I was going to say Dracula, but specifically I was going to say Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Nice.
Because I mean, Frenchie is basically a Renfield character, and I forget that actor's name is, though, who played Renfield in Dracula Dead and Loving It. He's so funny and like just nonstop hilarious throughout the whole movie. And that's how I felt about Frenchie in this one. He's your guide into the creepy, scary castle, but he's also just so ridiculous.
Right.
Just line after line of ridiculousness. And, of course, this movie isn't meant to be a Mel Brooks-esque spoof,
Right.
But at the same time, that's what I got out of it. I got totally ridiculous, totally fun, as we've been talking about here. And I think Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is a great example. That's probably maybe more in line with what the director intended. Although maybe he'd listen to this and be like, oh, God damn it, you guys.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I love that movie. I love both of those movies, just taking that whole world of those Universal monster movies of the 30s and adding that comedic element to it. And that's what I feel we've got here. I feel like this movie is inspired by those, whether it knows it or not.
Right. Well, and you sure hope so. You hope that it's like, he's not like, well, no, Frenchie was supposed to be like, serious Indiana Jones, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not
Frenchie is all of us.
But yeah. Now getting back to more, I guess, serious inspiration. So I think obviously the Exorcist. I think all the Conjuring movies are inspired by the Exorcist, and I think
absolutely
this one definitely. I think. How serious, because this one opens up very seriously, and the seriousness of with the religion and all of those elements. Obviously, The Exorcist was one. Hopefully, they weren't like, I want to. Again, hopefully, he was trying to have fun and trying to do funny and not trying to be serious. But I think the clash of, taking The Exorcist and then meshing in, this Brendan Fraser type character and making it more about the adventure than the scares in this weird, bizarre, like Scooby-Doo kind of concoction. That's what made this my favorite, actually, of the Conjuring movies.
I'm with you, man. I am with you. I don't know if our listeners are going to be with us. I don't know. I don't know if the director will be, but I'm with you.
Right. Because I think that some people, they hate this movie. I mean, critics even. I was looking at reviews and stuff, and
certainly the critics.
People hate it.
Critics are not
and it's just
it.
like.
I've seen a lot of comments, though, from people who do like it, like from people who are fans of the series who do like it. But yeah, it does seem to be pretty mixed as far as fans. Critics hate it, though. I mean, it's getting torn apart. Okay, so my next puzzle piece, and I'll tell you right now, none of mine are going to be as serious as The Exorcist. But my next one is actually one that I thought of just for you, my friend. And that is Man of Steel, or Superman in general. But it is Sister Irene's super hearing power, where she can stop and focus in and be able to tell which bell was the priest,
right.
Which I thought was absolutely hilarious, of course, and amazing. And why does she have super hearing power? That is not explained whatsoever. But it is total Superman.
Right.
And just the way that it was shot, and the way that the reason why I singled out, I know that's a Superman thing going all the way back. The reason I singled out Man of Steel is it kind of reminded me of the way that was shot, and the way that they showed that she was listening really hard.
Right.
You know.
Well, she
did you?
Yeah, I did not think of that, but now that you've said that, I mean, she kind of has a like Supergirl kind of like look to her, and an innocence to her too. That was one of the things though that I thought was really neat about this movie, is that a lot of times when they put nuns in movies, they like to do the opposite, or at least in an R-rated movie, they like to put a nun in there and then like, oh, we're gonna like, riff on religion and we're gonna do the total opposite. So the nun's gonna be like vulgar and dirty, and she's like so like pure and angelic and like innocent. And so in that sense, she's kind of like Supergirl in a way. So I totally can see that. And now that you said that though, Man of Steel. So I totally remember like, especially in the Man of Steel when Clark is a young boy and he's like, like he can't like handle it at first, and he like hears everything all at once, and he's just like bombards him, and then he has to learn to like just push it all away and focus in, and so yeah, I totally get that with that scene. So yeah, that's a nice one.
Just going off what you were just saying there about a lot of times when nuns are involved in Catholicism or religion, and it ends up being, the darker side of things and all that. It is funny that a lot of the reviews I've seen of this movie mention that the nun is kind of playing to our fears of religion and the Catholic Church, and all their controversies right now and all that stuff. But I find that so weird that I've seen so many reviews mention that, because I don't feel this movie does that.
Right.
I feel, like we've been talking about, it's more of just a fun character and, in an adventure. It's not really about the religion at all. I mean, maybe just on a very surface level of just the visual, but not in any meaningful way is it trying to talk about the problems with religion or Catholicism specifically.
No, it's not really. There's not really much social commentary. It's bring your own social commentary, because obviously there is lots of religion involved, but no, I mean, because basically the three, I was just saying, Sister Irene, she's like this very innocent and pure character, and then there's obviously some very positive aspects to the movie in regards to religion as well. So yeah,
Father Burke.
Yeah, exactly.
Up hero. There's nothing wrong.
Right.
Yeah. He doesn't do anything wrong. He's not even possessed and turned into an evil priest. I mean, he's just good.
Right.
Oh man. So what's your next puzzle piece?
I guess, well, since I brought it up, what I'll go ahead and mention is non-exploitation movies, which this one, I think what's neat about it is that it doesn't fall into any of the things that people love to do when they make an R-rated movie and they put nuns in it. So this kind of takes, the whole exploitation subgenre of nunsploitation and kind of just like totally twist it. So instead of it being trashy and dirty and sexual and about rape and revenge and having guns, that's what they love to do. Oh, here's a nun and here she is with a gun, and even, Robert Rodriguez, of course, even did that in Machete. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, So I liked that it didn't have any of that, because that's what I thought it was definitely going to have some of that, especially when I was like, okay, it's rated R. Okay, oh yeah, there's going to be some naked nuns, and oh, there's going to be a nun orgy or something, and it didn't have any of that. So it surprised me
Sure.
that it was so innocent, because I mean I really love the scene when Frenchie first meets Sister Irene, and he's like trying to flirt with her, and he doesn't know she's a nun yet, and it's just like, to me, I really liked that scene. It was fun. And then of course he finds out she's a nun, and then he's but you're a nun, but you're not quite a nun, not yet, because you hadn't taken her vows. So, but again, they could have turned that into more, but they still left it as a very innocent and playful level. It's weird how this is an R movie when the reason it's R is because there's gore in it. There's blood and gore in it, as opposed to anything else, really. There's no language, there's no sex, there's no nudity. It is just all, scares, and then, some blood. But again, so I think that in a way, I put nunsploitation as a inspiration on mine, as of the opposite of what those movies are.
Sure.
But I was trying to think of any specific movies, and I couldn't really think of any. And the one I thought of, the only, because that's not really a genre that I've ever got into at all. The movie Miss 45, which isn't actually a nunsploitation movie anyway, but it is an exploitation movie. It's not even a real nun. Mm-hmm. It's Halloween costume, a woman dressed as a nun, and it's a revenge movie where she goes around. She was raped, and she goes out for revenge, killing the people, and not just the people that did it, but I think it's kind of like a Death Wish kind of thing, where she's killing bad people altogether. And it's a 1980 movie, Abel Ferrara. It's great. But anyway, it's like a heroic nun. And so this one, because you've got this character who is, again, you've got a hero father and a hero nun in this movie. And so I was trying to think of one. And so Miss 45 was the only one that I could even think of that had like that kind of element to it.
And while we're on the topic, shout out to How Did This Get Made, my favorite movie podcast. They want to make, the hosts of it, they want to make a movie called Nundercover about a non-FBI agent. So let's hope they get that made. Maybe we could do it here on the show. That would be great.
As long as Whoopi Goldberg is not the star.
Well, she's got to be like the old one who was the original Undercover, and they have to go to her for advice. That'd be perfect. Oh man. All right. So my next puzzle piece, I guess, I was just talking about Man of Steel on my last one, so I guess I'll stick in the superhero world. And that is just in general the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that is because the producers of The Conjuring clearly want that for this series. This morning, I don't know if this had previously been announced, but I did read this morning that Annabelle 3, The Conjuring 3, and The Crooked Man are all coming in the next few years. So yeah, this is not going to stop. As a matter of fact, this movie, despite we're kind of making fun of it, even though we liked it a lot, but it was a hit. I mean, it's the biggest opening of any of the movies in the Conjuring universe. So it's not going to be stopping anytime soon, and that's exactly what they're looking for. They want to have all these spin-off characters and have them come together into each other's movies. So probably the next Nun movie, probably the Nun teams up with Annabelle or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this is absolutely. This is taken right out of the playbook of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and And just just to continue talking about Frenchie, the ending where Frenchie ends up being the guy from that shot that Sister Irene was helping in the future. It was just such the most ridiculously shoehorned in thing. But it made me laugh, that's for sure.
Well, here's the thing. The weakest thing about this movie for me was the fact that it was the Conjuring elements. I think that they should have stripped all of that away and had this been more of just a standalone movie. It would have been stronger. The stuff at the beginning and then the stuff at the end, they didn't need that. But yeah, definitely. Sure. It's funny because you mentioned the Marvel Universe. Right before we started recording this, I was just reading an article because, of course, this is Warner Brothers. Due to the success of The Nun and Crazy Rich Asians. Oh, no. Warner Brothers does no longer need a hit with the DC universe.
Oh, no. Poor Chad.
So Aquaman can flop and they won't care. Basically, that was the article. So anyway.
Oh, no.
So no, it's funny, though, that here Warner Brothers has this cinematic universe hit on their hands with this when they've been struggling with DC. But that being said, I think the downfall of this cinematic universe is going to be the same as any of like the DC one, because here's the thing with this one, I think the stuff about this movie that people don't like is the stuff that does not fit into the other movies. The fact that this one is so like wacky in its own right, as opposed to very stern and strict and serious like the other ones. I think that some people, they were expecting certain things with this movie, and the fact that it didn't live up to those expectations, that's why that they didn't like it and they did not enjoy it. And I think that even includes the casting, because there's that whole meta casting with the star of this being the younger sister of the star of the other movies. Right. I think people were expecting that was going to tie in somehow, and of course it didn't. So I think the fact that this one goes off into like like B-movie land in some ways, and like we've said, into like theme park adventure. I think that's what has some people not enjoying it. This one, though, to me is going to be this is going to be the cult hit. This is going to be the one of this series so far that people years from now are going to be like, "Hey, The Nun, that's a classic."
I agree. That is a classic. Frenchie is one of the great horror characters. Absolutely. Oh man, this movie is just so ridiculous. So, what would your next?
So this was one that I thought of for a lot of the film, but then it like disappeared about halfway through, and that's The Grudge. It's funny. I bring up another movie. Of course, Bill Pullman's hardly in The Grudge, but The Grudge. It opens with a suicide, and so this one opens with a suicide, and then the stuff with the little boy that is like haunting the father reminds me a lot of the little boy from The Grudge. And then not only that, there were the black shadows, like when she went into the church or whatever, the black shadows along the wall that there are a lot of little things in this movie though, that they don't really go anywhere. Like they don't mean anything, like they kind of happen. And then that's like,
wait, you mean like the nun character?
So
it's barely in the movie and is not explained in any real way.
I actually like that though, in a way. which we'll get to that with a different. We'll get to that with actually other puzzle pieces, but the Grudge. Now, see the big difference. though. Again, the Grudge though is a horror movie where it basically has rules, and it follows those rules. And this one though, it doesn't have any rules. It doesn't set up any rules. It doesn't follow any rules. So there's a lot of random things that it's almost like the director was like, oh, I like this and I like that, and let me just kind of throw. It's kind of almost like a throw in everything kind of deal without being really specific about what's going on or what things mean. But especially with the boy haunting the father, and then that kind of doesn't go anywhere after the father gets buried in the grave. That was it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The little boy doesn't pop up again. He doesn't do anything. So, but up until that point, I was like, there's some Grudge beats going on here. So,
just speaking of the boy, another one of those things that you just know is going to pay off somehow, and it kind of doesn't really. But I mean, this one kind of did, but I wanted to bring it up anyway, was him playing the crossword puzzle multiple times. And then it's deliveries, because the deliveries room is where they need to go. What?
Yeah.
What a payoff. Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh boy, so ridiculous. But the Grudge is definitely a great one. I think Gina even mentioned that to me while we were at the theater. That reminded her of the Grudge too. All right, my next puzzle piece then, and this is actually my last one, unless I think of another one while you're talking after this. But and this one is one I've brought up many times on this show before, and I'm so excited and happy. I'm so happy to bring it up again. I wasn't expecting it, but the Evil Dead franchise.
Yep.
Yeah. Of course, Frenchie in this case is Ash.
Right.
And Frenchie is just a ridiculous hero with ridiculous wisecracks, who is just very in over his own head, but also a hero at the same time. But then aside from just Frenchie as Ash, there's also a lot of callbacks to the Evil Dead series. The whole entire cemetery scene reminded me of Army of Darkness. All of the stuff with the dark, when they did the flashback to the nun being conjured or whatever, which was very just out of place. But the book very much reminded me of the Necronomicon with its powers and all that stuff. The zombies reminded me more of Deadites than any kind of zombies that I've seen in other movies. They were just very much, they weren't like zombies. They were Deadite zombies. They were talking shit kind of a little bit, there a lot of Evil Dead influence. And especially, I mean, Evil Dead is really kind of the gold standard when it comes to horror comedy. And that's what I consider this movie to be, a horror comedy.
Yeah, and when you were talking about the scene where the father trips and stumbles, and then he ends up in the grave, and then that was very Evil Dead 2 to me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Evil Dead, and here's the thing. Also, I was talking about earlier about how this is kind of a monster movie, kind of not, kind of a haunted castle movie, kind of not. And it doesn't really play by any rules. It doesn't really have its own rules that it plays by. And that's really kind of what that Evil Dead world is, where it's kind of like, they were basically, making things up as they went along. And it was kind of just like, well, whatever, here they are by a tree. Okay, the tree's going to attack or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's not really a lot of rhyme or reason to it. And this one does that. It basically is.
Yeah. It's what will be fun. What can we make fun out of this?
Which also makes it sort of, again, part of that feeling of just like a haunted attraction kind of theme park type ride. But very, very much Evil Dead, and specifically Evil Dead 2 for me. I mean, even I thought there was going to be more of this like later on when I was thinking about Evil Dead 2, and specifically I was like, I'm surprised they didn't cut back to that at any point. There's a point early on when Frenchie has a nightmare and he wakes up and there's like all of this blood that's just like pouring, and then there's the blood on the stairs, and then there's more blood, but there never like was a payoff to that, like in an Evil Dead fashion of just like tons of blood just like pouring in. And it's almost like exactly it's almost like this movie held back in some aspects. That was one of the things that I was thinking of later. I was like, they should have really just went all out with just like a Evil Dead 2 kind of blood pouring in type scene, which they totally could have did that right near the finale there.
It would have made so much sense. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why, like I said earlier, I don't know if they intended this to be a horror comedy or not. Like I really kind of doubt they did, but man, did they really land there. And like, there's some like throwaway gags and jokes that like, they were great and they were certainly intended. Like one that I wrote down in particular, is when Frenchie hits the zombie or whatever with a shovel or something. I don't remember exactly. And he goes, I thought you could use some help. And then the Father Burt goes, next time use the shotgun. And it's like that's it's a great classic like adventure type joke, but it's like, in the Nun, right? Did the Nun need to have silly one-liners, and that's so like an Evil Dead thing. You'd have to think that unless they just really didn't know what to do with this movie, that they know that this isn't the right movie for that, for those kind of one-liners, but they threw them in there anyway, and I'm happy they did.
Well, and the funny thing is that I think that this movie would play better a second time around, expecting it to be more like that, because the first time when I'm watching it, I mean, there's some dialogue that's just very doesn't work, but if I'm expecting this to be funny, I think it would work better. Like, I mean, like they keep talking about holy and unholy, and it's just like so ridiculous. It's just like, is this holy land or is it unholy land? Oh, I think it's unholy. And it's just like playing for laughs. That works a lot better than the first time around when I'm watching it, expecting this to be a serious movie. So
You know what? When I officially lost it was when they get to the castle or the whatever it is, and they're about to go in. I think they were talking about the Holy Land thing. I think it was right after that. They're getting ready to walk in, and Sister Irene crosses herself, and then Father Burke crosses himself, and then
right. Yeah.
It's like, what just happened? Is that what we're watching? The whole spitting
thing that was good. Yeah.
I guess that's the movie we're about to watch.
Right.
So, what is your next puzzle piece?
It related to Evil Dead, because what I thought of it plays very much to the same kind of rules and no rules kind of thing that I was talking about, and that's actually the Blair Witch Project franchise. And there's actually some imagery early on with the crosses. It's very much in line with like the hanging stick man in the woods, and there was just, like I said, just how this is kind of its own beast in a way, where which I think frustrates horror movie fans, that they can't know what to expect, because it's like and I think Blair Witch Project did that to people. And also at the same time, how there are people complaining that the Nun's not in the movie, it's the Nun. And I was like, I love that about it. Again, that's very Blair Witchy. Yeah. Which is one of the things that pisses so many people off about the Blair Witch. But also the fact that the Evil Dead same way as Blair Witch on this, that there aren't any set rules, so that there could be visions, there could be things that are actually happening, or people being made to do things, and you not really knowing like what's real, what isn't real, and there's just these different ways to play with you as a movie watcher, and I like that though when there are those things in a horror movie, and this movie did that, because it basically, as much as the other movies in the Conjuring tried to be kind of realistic and kind of play like to reality, this one kind of threw all that out the window and was just like, it's all fantasy, and there's so many things and bits thrown in there for like no reason, just for the fact of, like I said, I think the director was like, hey, I want a scene where there's a bunch of sheets on hanging out to dry for absolutely no reason, because we've seen that in Friday the 13th 3, and we've seen that in like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes, and it's in haunted houses, and so not for any reason, he's just gonna have to walk through the sheets, you know what I mean? And it's just like the whole thing of not having any rules to it, while just like opened it up to be a lot of fun. And so again, I think though the Blair Witch Project and the Evil Dead 2, those are two of those movies though, I mean, with franchises that, because I'm including like the second Blair Witch in that, with the way that they threw out the rules of the first movie, and then when you get to the remake movie, or reboot, whatever you want to call it, they kind of threw out the rules, and then also it kind of makes sense and works all together anyway. And that's how the Evil Dead franchise works as well, and so this one though, absolutely, it did that to the franchise itself, it did that to horror movies in general, and so it's its own weird, just odd, like existing bizarre world of just having fun with its audience. And so again, that's what made it so much fun. And you said you didn't have any other puzzle pieces, so one of the ones though I wanted to make sure was Underworld. The conclusion, the finality of this movie is a lot like the end of Underworld. The big showdown at the end in Underworld, which actually the finale on this movie reminded me of Underworld, and then it reminded me of The Wizard of Oz in a way, with the witch melting. Because it's almost like they just kind of pull the the bathtub drain, and then like the nun kind of like goes down the drain, but so I thought of Underworld, because Underworld, they're like in this underground, like there's like water for no reason in this. Why is there water all of a sudden? It's like
you know what? While we're talking about this ending, I did want to mention, what was it? Maybe I missed it because I was just laughing so hard. But was there a moment where they established that they even wanted to go in and defeat the witch? Because it just seemed like they could have just left. Like they were only there to investigate what was happening. No. And then just all of a sudden they need a secret amulet or whatever to
right. Yeah, no, there was nothing ever established. It was just kind of like, the blood of Christ. Yeah. Yeah, it was it just kind of happened.
Ridiculous.
Like that's the thing with this movie. There was not a lot of, it's almost like this. I feel like in a way that this movie was maybe went way more off the rails, and then the studio was like, and cut it and tried to make sense of it, because it very seems patchy. It seems patchy, kind of like things just kind of thrown together. There's no way this was the original script.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? It just seems so chopped up. But I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how to explain it. I did want to mention, I thought of one last little puzzle piece. This one kind of could have went with Army of Darkness, and that's the Nicolas Cage movie Season of the Witch, which was, I wanted to mention Nicolas Cage at some point because we've got this ridiculous Frenchy character. And I was like, what Nicolas Cage movie could I mention? And I was like, oh yes, Season of the Witch deals with the an abbey and crazy, creepy, weird stuff happening, but just totally over the top and ridiculous. So it fits. Did you have any other actually you wanted to mention?
I've got one, and this is one we've talked about before on here. It's actually Sicario. If you think about it in a strange way, this is Sicario.
Okay.
Really. You've got the Emily Blunt character is the sister. She doesn't really, she's kind of tricked in a way because she's not told exactly what all is going on. And then Frenchie would be Benicio's character. The father would be Josh Brolin's character. I mean, really, it's in a strange way, this is Sicario.
I like that. It's kind of brilliant. But you know what I thought you were going to say was that this is Sicario Day of the Soldado, and it didn't understand at all what people like about the Conjuring.
It is that too at the same time. That's
went
the
a totally different direction.
So we could just say the Sicario franchise, because basically it is great. That as well. It's like kind of how that second one just kind of throws out the book and goes way off the rails. This one totally does that. But yeah, the other things though that
that's great. I love it.
I wanted to mention though was actually it kind of goes along the lines though when I was talking about the Universal classic monster movies. The Full Moon pictures, they've made a lot of castle movies, especially back in like the 80s and the 90s. And the only one that I could think of specifically would be Castle Freak. But again, it's very just a superficial kind of link, just the whole aspect of that great location is what really just kind of triggered that into my head. And then also the Hammer horror movies, which were the British Dracula and Frankenstein with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Horror of Dracula and Taste the Blood of Dracula were two of the specifically ones that I was reminded of. But yeah, those movies and the Full Moon pictures, and then the original Frankenstein Dracula, they had such great locations with these old castles in Romania and stuff, and this totally has that. So it has like such a great backdrop for this weird, wacky movie.
You know what? You're totally on board, on track too, because I did see, I think it was actually 2 reviews that I saw on this movie that mentioned that it reminded them of the old Hammer film productions, and then it just goes off the rails from there, though. But as far as the setting and the look and the style of it, and yeah, I mean, it definitely, that even goes back to those Universal monster movies, like you were saying. Like it's very old school in a way, but then just the tone is just all
yes. Uneven is a good way to describe this movie. I did have one more that I did write down. It was one I thought of watching it. It's a weird British, it's kind of a cult movie from the 80s as well. A lot of 80s movies I think popped up in my head while watching this. Was just, I don't know if maybe that's what it was going for. Maybe with the whole like, want to be Indiana Jones kind of thing. But Lair of the White Worm is a 1988 weird movie with like snakes and stuff. And again, just something about this movie made me think of that movie. That one totally goes like very bizarro, like very B movie weird, and it's kind of a cult kind of movie. And I think this one, it was very close to veering into total bonkersville, and I think I'm guessing the studio pulled it back. That's my guess.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it as a Conjuring movie, it is pretty strange and wacky, but I wish it was a little bit more so than it was. But it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the finished puzzle here, and that includes the Indiana Jones series, specifically Temple of Doom, Brendan Fraser movies like The Mummy and The Journey to the Center of the Earth, The Serpent and the Rainbow, Scooby-Doo, Universal monster movies, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, Dracula Dead and Loving It, The Exorcist, Nunsploitation movies, specifically you mentioned Miss 45, The Grudge, the Blair Witch Project franchise, Evil Dead, Man of Steel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Season of the Witch with Nicolas Cage, Underworld, Wizard of Oz, Sicario series, Full Moon features, specifically Castle Freak you mentioned, as well as Hammer Film Productions, and Lair of the White Worm. That is our list of movies that we think inspired The Nun. And, I just want to say, as we get into our final thoughts here, I'm really glad that when we got to sit down and do this episode that you were on the same page with me. As far as this movie being ridiculous, I was thinking, man, how is this episode going to go if we sit down to talk? And he's like, yeah, this was scary as shit, man. And The Nun is just fucking badass. And like, or just think it's boring as shit and like just terrible, but I'm so glad that you had the same reaction as me, that this is just so much fun in a way that's probably not intentional, but maybe intentional.
Right.
It's really hard.
A very strange movie, especially coming from The Conjuring. This is what I hope they do more of, though. But I wonder what direction they'll go. Especially you mentioned that they were doing the Crooked Man, which he's actually one of my favorites from the Conjuring universe. Yeah, they should have, especially with these like little spin-off movies, they should, have fun like this. I wish the Annabelle movies were more fun than they are. These movies have been too serious. So this one either will shake things up or the next Nun will be like, totally the opposite. So we'll see.
That's going to be weird, right? When the nun character comes back and it's like a straight up horror movie. That's going to be really weird. A weird course correction. But yeah, no, I love this movie for my own reasons. And certainly not everybody's going to watch it and get that reaction if you're not, open to, the so bad it's good kind of a, slapsticky kind of thing, and looking at a movie that way, especially a movie that isn't necessarily supposed to be looked at that way, it might not be for you. Then again, you might straight up like it as a horror movie. I guess this movie, It's hard to say. It's kind of like
Right.
it reflects, I guess, what what you see in this genre. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to say. But yeah, I mean, overall,
Yeah.
like I said, I
What
really
I would
liked
say
it,
is
and
that
I'm glad we're able
I
to
would
do
say
it.
it's not necessarily a good movie. I think that maybe The Conjuring 2 is probably the best movie of the
Mm.
cinematic universe so far, but this is my favorite so far because it was
Sure.
fun. And I wish, though, I wish the advertising was more in on that, though. I wish this was like touted as a fun, wacky movie as opposed to a serious, horror movie. And I think that's kind of where there's getting to be a disconnect because people are going in expecting this to be serious, and then it kind of is to start with, and then it starts to be more and more less and more wacky. And I think if you don't get on board that ride, then it's not going to be very much fun. You've just got to
Yeah.
basically let this movie take you where it takes you and enjoy it, as opposed to try to expect it to go a certain way or whatever.
Yes.
So
I have to imagine that it wouldn't have been a $55 million opening weekend if they had advertised it as being ridiculous, and being just a fun, silly ride, So they're probably doing the right thing, but at the same time, I would love to have seen them advertise it the way that it really is, basically. And who knows, maybe next weekend they'll totally change their tone to try to capture some of us, people more like us. I don't know.
I was going to say,
wanted to mention.
I kind of can understand though the people though that don't really like it because of that. Because I mean, that was my reaction to Sicario 2. I did not like that movie, and I could not get on board the wackiness of that film. So I think though it depends on how much you actually like what came before. So with me, I love Sicario and I loved it the way it was. Yeah. Whereas this with the Conjuring movies, I've always liked them, but I don't love them. I mean, I enjoy watching them, but it's not something that I'm like, oh, they're perfect, they're masterpieces or whatever. So I think that again, expectations, I think, has a lot to do with how you enjoyed this film. But I think that this is one of those that if there were still video stores, this would be one of those that would catch back on in 10 years, and people were especially future generations, this is the one that they're going to be like, oh my God, we got to watch The Nun, and they're telling their friends and they're telling their friends.
Oh yeah, if I had rented this in a video store when I was a teenager and this came on, oh my God, I'd watch it every weekend through high school. I mean, absolutely. I wanted to mention my favorite scene before we wrap this up, which and of course this was, I mean, it had to have been meant for a laugh, but I don't know if it was meant for as big of a laugh as I gave it. I was dying in the theater. I was almost embarrassed by how hard I was laughing. Was the scene in the Black Bear bar where Frenchie is just sitting there having a drink with the giant cross. That was probably the funniest thing I've seen all year in any movie. Kudos to the makers of The Nun for giving me my biggest laugh at the movies this year.
They're not going to put any of your pull quotes on the poster, I don't think. Biggest laugh.
I'm going to email them.
Biggest laugh of the year.
Oh man. Well, Chad, you got anything you want to plug before we wrap it up?
I'm good. Like I said, 10th episode I've been on, I do believe. I think it's great you do this show. I love coming on it because even it seems like I've become the person to go to for the the weird movies, I take it as the fun ones, like, Sicario 2, The
Sure.
Nun. Hey, I'm all for that. I probably won't be doing too many of the shows with Oscar talks at all, but
Hey, you never know. It might happen. I was actually thinking, and I really don't know where this movie's going to end up, but I was thinking maybe we'd do White Boy Rick.
oh yeah,
I have no idea if that
definitely.
movie's got any kind of awards potential, but I mean,
Right,
you never know.
right.
It's always possible. But yeah,
Yeah,
so we'll see.
he's like veers from all the way into Nick Cage land, all the way over into Leonardo DiCaprio land. Yeah, he has a wide range there. So, but yeah, that movie looks great.
Yes, he does. Oh yeah, awesome! A lot of great movies coming up, so we'll get you back soon. Let's do a bunch more, and glad you're here for this one.
Crisis for the geek kind. Top geek officials admit they underestimated the hipsters' defense capability. Join the geek revolution and save the galaxy. Geeks from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future. They're doing their part. Are you? Want to know more? Join We Be Geeks and the Geek Revolution and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship. Listen to We Be Geeks podcast on iTunes and Stitcher or online at webegeeks.net. We Be Geeks, your voice for the Geek Revolution. Want to know more?
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Chad Clinton Freeman about The Nun. I'm telling you, the reviews are not exactly good, and probably for good reason, but I laughed so hard during this movie, and you heard me laughing so hard during this conversation. It is just a really fun time. It's so ridiculous. I do think you should go out and see it. Definitely see this movie. Also, if you haven't yet, check out the promo video we made for this episode, because it's also pretty funny, I think. I'm really happy with how it came out, and special thanks to Ailani Lee. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm going to put a link to some of the stuff that she does. She dresses up as the Nun and other horror movie characters for various events around town. So definitely check her out. I will be posting a link in the show notes and also on our Facebook and all that stuff. So check her stuff out, and thank you to her and her husband, Tony Burnside, for helping me out with making that video. It came out so great. Hopefully we'll get to do some more fun skits for the show in the future. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you could rate and review us on iTunes. You could also just let us know directly what you thought of it. Tweet at me at PiecingPod, or you can also join our Facebook group, Piecing It Together, a movie discussion group, or you can just email me directly by davidrosen@gmail.com. So get in touch. I want to hear what you think of the show, and I want to hear what you've been thinking about all these episodes. I want to hear if you think we left any puzzle pieces out. Get in touch. I want to hear what you guys all think. So with that, I'm going to close out this episode, and I'm going to play you guys a piece of my music. And we will be back hopefully next week with a new episode. And then I'll be back also with my music in, I think next week probably we'll be releasing Artificial, the music video that is playing at Film Quest Film Festival and a whole bunch of other film festivals as well. So maybe I'll play that one next week to go along with the release. Maybe we'll even do something with the video. Why not? It's basically like a film. So yeah, lots of great stuff to look forward to. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys soon.
and all points west.